Let us take a look at Job 36:22 through 20. Job 36:22 through 33.
Job 36:22 to 33. Look, God is all-powerful. Who is a teacher like him? 23. No one can tell him what to do. No one can say to him, you have done wrong. 24. Instead, glorify his mighty works, singing songs of praise. 25. Everyone has seen these things, but only from a distance. 26. Look, God is exalted beyond what we can understand. His years are without number. 27. He draws up the water vapor, and then distills it into rain. 28. The rain pours down from the clouds, and everyone benefits from it. 29. Can anyone really understand the spreading of the clouds, and the thunder that rolls forth from heaven? 30. See how he spreads the lightning around him, and how it lights up the depths of the sea. 31. By his mighty acts he governs the people, giving them food in abundance. 32. He fills his hands with lightning bolts. He hurls each at its target. 33. The thunder announces his presence, the storm announces his indignant anger.
God is greater than we can understand. One theme is the poetic literature of the Bible is that God is incomprehensible. We cannot know him completely. We can have some knowledge about him, for the Bible is full of details about who God is, how we can know him, and how we can have an eternal relationship with him, but we can never know enough to answer all of life's questions. Ecclesiastes 3:11, to predict our own future or manipulate God for our own ends. Life always creates more questions than we have answers, and we must constantly go to God for fresh insight into life's dilemma. God, they can only apprehend, cannot completely understand him. Even in this third world age and heaven age, the eternal state, we will be unable to even then understand him completely and fully. We will spend the rest of eternity knowing him more and more. God sets up the laws of the universe. Science points to him. History points to him. Archaeology points to him. All the different sciences point to him. And his beauty is vast. Now, let us take a look at Job 38. Job 37, 1 through 24, I'm sorry.
Thunder of God's voice as it rolls from his mouth. 3. It rolls across the heaven. Job 37 to 124. My heart pounds as I think of this. It leaps within me. 2. Listen carefully to the thunder of God's voice as it rolls from his mouth. 3. It rolls across the heavens, and his lightning flashes out in every direction. 4. Then comes the roaring of the thunder, the tremendous voice of his majesty. He does not restrain the thunder when he speaks. 5. God's voice is glorious in the thunder. We cannot comprehend the greatness of his power. 6. He directs the snow to fall on the earth and tells the rain to pour down. 7. Everyone stops working at such a time so they can recognize his power. 8. The wild animals hide in the rocks or in their dens. 9. The stormy wind comes from its chamber, and the driving winds bring the cold. 10. God's breath sends the ice, freezing wide expanses of water. 11. He loads the clouds with moisture, and they flash with his lightning. 12. The clouds turn around and around under his direction. They do whatever he commands throughout the earth. 13. He causes things to happen on earth, either as a punishment or as a sign of his unfailing love. 14. Listen, Job, stop and consider the wonderful miracles of God. 15. Do you know how God controls the storm and causes the lightning to flash forth from his clouds? 16. Do you understand how he balances the clouds with wonderful perfection and skill? 17. When you are sweltering in your clothes and the south wind dies down and everything is still. 18. He makes the skies reflect the heat like a giant mirror. Can you do that? 19. You think you know so much, so teach the rest of us what to say to God. We are too ignorant to make our own arguments. 20. Should God be told that I want to speak? Can we speak when we are confused? 21. We cannot look at the sun, for it shines brightly in the sky when the wind clears away the clouds. 22. Golden splendor comes from the mountain of God. He is clothed in dazzling splendor. 23. We cannot imagine the power of the Almighty, yet he is so just and merciful that he does not oppress us. 24. No wonder people everywhere fear him. People who are truly wise show him reverence.
God's sovereignty is completely awe-inspiring. Nothing can compare to God. His powerful and his presence are awesome, and when he speaks, we must listen. Too often we presume to speak for God, as did Job's friends, to put words in his mouth, to take him for granted, or to interpret his silence to mean that he is absent or unconcerned. But God cares. He is in control, and he will speak. Be ready to hear his message in the Bible through the Holy Spirit and through the circumstances and relationships. God's sovereignty is absolute. Elohu stressed God's sovereignty over all of nature as a reminder of his sovereignty over our life. God is in control. He directs, preserves, and maintains his created order. Although we cannot see it, God is divinely governing the moral and political affairs of people as well by spending time observing the majesty and intrinsic part of God's creation. We can be reminded of his power in every aspect of our life. Let's take a look at Job 38, 1 through 41.
Job 38:1-41, then the backward left bracket dot 1 CLFULNON right bracket answered Job from the whirlwind. 2. Who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorant words? 3. Brace yourself, because I have some questions for you, and you must answer them. For where were you when I laid the foundations of the backward left bracket dot 1 FRS of right bracket question mark? Tell me, if you know so much. 5. Do you know how its dimensions were determined, and who did the surveying? 6. What supports its foundations, and who laid its cornerstones? Heaven is the morning stars sang together, and all the angels shouted for joy. 8. Who defined the boundaries of the seas that burst from the womb? 9. And as I clothed it with clouds and thick darkness. 10. For I locked it behind barred gates, limiting its shores. 11. I said, thus far and no farther will you come. Here your proud waves must stop. 12. Have you ever commanded the morning to appear and caused the dawn to rise in the east? 13. Have you ever told the daylight to spread to the ends of the earth, to bring an end to the night's wickedness. 14 For the features of the earth take shape as the light approaches, and the dawn is robed in red. 15 The light disturbs the haunts of the wicked, and it stops the that is raised in violence. 16 Have you explored the springs from which the seas come? Have you walked about and explored their depths? 17 Do you know where the gates of death are located? Have you seen the gates of utter gloom? 18 Do you realize the extent of the earth? Tell me about it if you know. 19 Where does the light come from, and where does the darkness go? 20 Can you take it to its home? You know how to get there. 21 But of course you know all this, for you were born before it was all created, and you are so very experienced. 22 Have you visited the treasuries of the snow? Have you seen where the hail is made and stored? 23 I have reserved it for the time of trouble, for the day of battle and war. 24 Where is the path to the origin of light? Where is the home of the east wind? 25 Who created a channel for the torrents of rain? Who laid out the path for the lightning? 26 Who makes the rain fall on barren land, in a desert where no one lives? 27 Who sends the rain that satisfies the parched ground and makes the tender grass spring up? 28 Does the rain have a father? Where does dew come from? 29 Who is the mother of the ice? Who gives birth to the frost from the heavens? 30 For the water turns to ice as hard as rock, and the surface of the water freezes. 31 Can you hold back the movements of the stars? Are you able to restrain the Pleiades or Orion? 32 Can you ensure the proper sequence of the seasons, or guide the constellation of the Bear with her cubs across the heavens? 33 Do you know the laws of the universe, and how God rules the earth? 34 Can you shout to the clouds, and make it rain? 35 Can you make lightning appear and cause it to strike as you direct it? 36 Who gives intuition and instinct? 37 Who is wise enough to count all the clouds? Who can tilt the water jars of heaven? 38 Turning the dry dust to clumps of mud. 39 Can you stalk prey for a lioness, and satisfy the young lion's appetites 40 As they lie in their dens or crouch in the thicket? 41 Who provides food for the ravens when their young cry out to God as they wander about in hunger?
God is not required to explain anything to us. Out of a mighty storm, God spoke. Surprisingly, he didn't answer any of Job's questions. Job's questions were not at the heart of the issue. Instead, God used Job's ignorance of the earth's natural order to reveal his ignorance of God's moral order. If Job did not understand the working of God's physical creation, how could he possibly understand God's mind and character? There is no standard of criteria higher than God himself by which to judge. God himself is the standard. Our only opinion is to submit to his authority and rest in his care. God never answers the why questions in life. Let's take a look at Romans chapter 8, 28 to 39.